A wonderful 24th of July, 2020, Friday. Once again, my name is Itumeleng Kenneth Mohanwe, and I'll be taking you for English Home Language today. And today's lesson focuses mainly on visual literacy, in particular, cartoons. And I think I've decided to teach you cartoons today because of what yesterday's lesson looked like. And I think a lot of the focus for the next couple of days is going to be on paper one stuff, because particularly section C, because section C tests the language structures and conventions. So that's like your textual editing and visual literacy, and how well you engage with your language, and how well you use language to engage on other things and inferences. I'd like to start with this quote by Walt Disney. I think it's quite appropriate, especially because we're doing visual literacy. We're doing cartoons in particular. He's actually one of the fathers of cartooning. He says, "If you can dream it, you can do it." Okay, so especially because it's locked down, and we need motivation. We need to to up ourselves and try as much as possible to to get into it and do our best. So if you can dream it, then you can do it. Let's go. There you go, cartoons. I'm sure you know what cartoons are, and that's how they look. Yes? Lovely drawings. See Madam and Eve right there. I think this used to be a series on television at some point. And then you've got a drawing by Zapiro up there. So today, the focus is on visual literacy and its importance. Then we're going to be doing cartoons. Then I've got a bit of a worksheet for you, and then we'll do responses to that worksheet. Okay, so cartoons, visual literacy. What are the notes from markers generally when we talk visual literacy, or when they mark visual literacy? And I think, so there are three very important things. I think I might have even said this the other day, that one-word answers must be marked correct even if the spelling is incorrect, unless the error changes the meaning of the word. But don't bank on misspelling a word. I think have a greater focus on understanding that you need to be as linguistically correct as possible, applying all the correct, lovely language rules. Secondly, in full sentence answers, incorrect spelling should be penalized if the error is in the language structure being tested. Okay, so just also be careful in that regard. And lastly, sentence structures must be grammatically correct, given in full sentences, as well as per instruction. So I think also be very focused in that regard. Let's go. What is a cartoon? A cartoon is usually a humorous, drawn picture of a situation, well-known personality, or a story. Okay, so so it's basically a drawing, drawn from pencils, stencils, and all that stuff. And it's used to express ideas or to draw attention to a situation or a well-known personality. I think also then, given that particular situation, you'll see with some of the examples that I'm going to be focusing on today. And then they often highlight a current social or political issue. Okay, just be careful in knowing or in noting that in some cases, cartoons, note a particular social or political issue, and it's usually current. Sometimes it could be like, it could give like about a year's gap or a 2-year gap. So I think also depending on what we're talking about here. Okay. And then there's an example. So if you can see here what's drawn here, so it says, well, society is forcing us to grow up too soon. I didn't plan on becoming a train wreck until my mid-20s. Okay, can you see the focus issue there is there? It says celeb magazine or celebrity magazine. So which means that, again, given the influence that celebrities have in our society, or given the influence that celebrities, hold, generally, this cartoon here, as you can see, this girl here, this lady here, or it can be a boy with long hair, depending, is holding a magazine here, and I think he or she's just looking at how some of the things that celebrities may be doing are quite ridiculous, or they're quite high in standard, and perhaps people are inadvertently forced to match up to that. There's another one. What do you see right there? I'm being targeted by the forces of darkness. Expects ESCOM, right? So who do you see there? I think, yeah, that's a caricature. We'll talk more about what caricatures are later on. This could be, I think this could be Julius Malema. I could be mistaken. And then look at this, right? So they go, okay, well, I mean, now he's expects ESCOM, right? Expect ESCOM of again. You're looking at some of the current issues, especially with issues around load shedding. With the changes in CEOs in the Electricity Supply Commission, which is ESCOM. Again, yeah, that's what the abbreviation ESCOM stands for, by the way. So yeah, I think be very wary of your surroundings, guys. Can you see? I think the story was from what, the 25th of the second month in 2010. Interesting. So yeah, he says, well, I mean, I'm being targeted by by forces of darkness, and look at the emphasis there on the forces of darkness. We'll talk about things like that later on. Look at the dog right there. Look, I mean, one eye open, one eye closed. Yeah, look at the attitude in the faces of these cartoons. When analyzing a cartoon, what do you look for? You look for characters, right? You look for characters, right? Are they stereotypes, or are they caricatures, or are they both, right? Ask yourself that. Are these stereotypes, or are they caricatures, or are they both? The background and setting. Where and when is the scene taking place? Again, very, very important question. Where's the scene taking place? Where is the scene taking place? I think just be very wary of the surroundings. Remember, I keep saying, be wary of your surroundings, or be aware of your surroundings. Language. Is the language formal or informal register? Right? What is used? Do we have formal register used or informal register used? We're going to be focusing one of our lessons on the difference between formal register and informal register. So be on the lookout for that. Punctuation, usually used to portray emotions, usually used to portray emotions. So sometimes we would have an exclamation mark, or we would have some ellipses, depending on the sentence that is said, or that is expressed, or what is said in general there. The actions, look at the facial expressions and symbols or lines that are used to portray the movement or emotion. And I'm not going to emphasize this more than this, please, guys. Understand the importance and the impact of, I think, just in general, what cartoons are, what they look like, and why it is that they are drawn in a particular way. The importance of the statement is that you know and understand how to use expressive language. You need to learn to use expressive language. So when you look at things like facial expressions and symbols, and lines that are used to portray those particular movements and things like that, look at all of that stuff, because that your expressive language, your use of expressive words will help you answer that question or those questions. Again, what are the objectives? Is the aim to educate, or to edutain, or to entertain, right? Sometimes you entertain and you educate at the same time, therefore you want to edutain. So again, be very aware of things like that, okay? And remember, a cartoon can be a single frame which consists of other series of frames, or it can consist of a series of frames depending on what you're reading or depending on the cartoon that you're engaging with. It doesn't mean that you should have a strip of frames, like 4 or 5 frames. It doesn't mean that. You can have one frame and you can be asked to analyze that frame, depending as well. Again, movement is indicated by vertical, curved, and diagonal lines. If you guys remember these were taught to you guys maybe in like grade 6 or grade 7 mathematics, right? Yeah, so curved lines, may show a particular movement from one end to the other end. Sometimes diagonal lines, depending, on what movement is actually, being portrayed there. Again, speedy action is usually indicated by streaky lines, right? Or the action leaving the frame. Sometimes, yes, and again, like those lines are very, very aggressive. You'll see like they look very streaky, they look very striky, they look very sharp. Because it's also, again, just to, show that speedy action. Again, fonts are also changed for emphasis, okay? So understand the reason for fonts being used. It's that they are used, to emphasize particular instances or particular words or particular shapes of words. Sometimes, it could show anger, it could show a dream, it could show a particular emotion, it could show an epiphany of some sort. Depends as well. Okay. There you go. Can you see that? First, you take my money, and now you try to kill me. There you go. Look at that. Can you see the bat, right? See the bat right there. Look at that line there next to the bat. Okay. What does it show? It's showing movement that, listen, I am about to smack you. Okay. Look at his eyes. One eye is like, semi-closed. The other eye is very wide open. Look at the teeth together. It's like they want to grind. All right. That's very, very important that you mention those things. Okay. And yeah, look at his surroundings. He just has, because the focus and the reason there's nothing in the background is that the focus is mainly on him, right? As well as his piggy bank. Okay. First you take my money and now you try to kill me. Okay. Again, what could be meant by this? Okay. Again, it could mean that, he's just found out that, I don't know, he's now allergic to pork, or he's now allergic to eating pork. So it could be very, very different things. I think widen your scope of thought. This frame, on its own says a lot. Okay. There's the single frame. There are your diagonal lines. Can you see? Fonts are also changed for emphasis. Can you see again? There you go. All right, look at that cartoon there. Can you see? Smile means that a person is happy. Okay. Look at that. Gaza, 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 right? Or whap, whap, whap. Look at the onomatopoeia here. Remember, onomatopoeia is what? Onomatopoeia is the use of certain words to make a sound come to life. Okay, it's a beautiful or brilliant figure of speech. Things like bang, things like screech. Okay, here we're using whap, whap, whap. Okay, because you're trying to make the sound come to life for human beings. Because remember, these things are inanimate objects which make specific sounds, but we're trying to make those sounds come to life for for the reader. Okay, so be very careful again. Okay, look, Calvin, what are you doing to the coffee table? Okay, again, look at this. Words in bold, again, could mean that something is loud. Look at that there. Interesting, right? Yes, whap, whap. Like I said, gaza, 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 whap, 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 depending. Okay. Again, the mom is hysterical. The eyes are wide open, and hey, look at that mouth, guys. Okay. Can you see? So you need to bring the language to life. Okay. Can you see how how serene and how happy he is in this first frame? Look at the second frame. the mom's really not impressed at all. I mean, she's shouting. And how do we know she's shouting? Look at the speech bubble here. The speech bubble has got these specific, sharp strikes, these very, very specific sharp strikes. Interesting, right? Exactly. You can see jagged speech bubble, again, bold print and question or exclamation mark indicate, shouting. Okay, so look at that again. Interesting. They indicate shouting because the exclamation mark, when you exclaim, it means that you're shouting or that you're expressing something very, 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 loudly or expressively or with surprise or, whatever, depending on how you see something. Look at this blank expression now. There's nothing in the scene. Why? Because it emphasizes confusion. He's confused. He's just like so perturbed, like, okay, what is going on? Okay, I mean, why am I being shouted at? Again, the asterisk here also indicates confusion or a thought process. Can you see? It's very isolated here. Now look at that compared to the first frame. Can you see? Look at that compared to the first frame. Very interesting. Now in the fourth frame, is this some sort of trick or what? No, it's asking. Why? Look at this. It's asking, is this some sort of trick or what? Right, now, the mom's hands are on her head, right? To show despair. It's like, oh my God, okay, right? Okay. Commenting on cartoons, very important. All answers should be substantiated with close reference to the cartoon. All answers should be substantiated with close reference to the cartoon. Very, very important. I cannot emphasize this any further. Okay. So you need to pay careful attention to the body language of the characters and to refer to visible features. Please do not forget, refer to anything that you see that is around that particular cartoon or on that cartoon frame. You need to make reference to it, guys. Sometimes it could be unnecessary, but you must do so. The thicker the answer, the better for the marker, because the marker can see that you are engaged in the text that is being examined. There's no mistake in putting that particular cartoon strip there or that particular cartoon frame there. It's not a mistake. We're doing it with a purpose, so we know that there's specific questions that we're going to be asking you in that regard. Reminder that cartoons make use of puns, clever play on words, satire, looking at some issues, social as well as political issues, in order to, to mark, but while correcting, sarcasm, right? And irony that need to be explained by referring to the cartoon. So that is the reason we teach these figures of speech. Okay, grade 11s, that's the reason we teach these figures of speech, so that you're able to use them everywhere. You're able to use them sometimes, you're able to take them out, or in your comprehensions. Sometimes you're able to identify them in things like textual editing. Sometimes you're able to identify them in advertisements and cartoons. So sometimes they're just all over, around you. Newspaper headlines have got all these things. So understand why we teach these figures of speech. Okay, look at that there. I'll give you just a minute. Okay, Right, look at that. Emotions, evidence, right? Look at expression and font. Okay, look at the expression and font. Ooh, ooh, thank goodness. Monday is a school holiday. Anything to get out of boring homework, huh? Okay, look at that. Look at the emotions, look at the evidence, look at the expressions in the font. Look at that. Can you see the difference between this expression here and that expression here? That needs explaining. I'll leave it to you to explain. That needs explaining. I'll leave it to you to explain. Look at the eyes here. Look at the eyes here. Look at the mouth here, but look at the mouth here. Hey? Wow. Can you see that? Look at Mrs. Anderson here. Bored. She's like, oh my goodness, what the hell? Okay. Why the hell is she telling me that? Right. And then anything to get out of boring homework, huh? And look at her attitude there. Mm-hmm. Look at that. Yeah. Homework is about homework. With all the school violence, we don't to get stabbed or shot. Can you see? Again, school violence, right? Remember, I think there's been, I mean, there's been I think a huge prevalence. Sorry for that tautology. There's been a prevalence of school violence in South Africa. Um, we know, I mean, a lot of student killing, student to student killing, and students attacking teachers and all that stuff. Yeah, so I think this cartoon was just to make people aware of some of the things that were around us. Okay, now she's shocked. Look at this. Another day alive, alive. Can you see what I meant by sometimes fonts are either boldened or changed? There you go. Look at that. Look at that there. Right? And this is showing that she's moving away. Can you see this line here? Okay. Give you just a minute to look at that. I think this is a beautiful, beautiful example of satire. Okay. Those of you who are not aware, look, Old MacDonald had a farm. That's all. Okay. Look at the teacher and look at the student. This is nursery rhyme day in Mrs. Tabansi's class in downtown Harare, Zimbabwe. Remember that, yeah, that whole big land debate in Zimbabwe, and when all yeah when land was taken from farmers and all that stuff. Yeah, I think this was just addressing all of that. Hey, and you see, this cartoon goes as far back as 2007, and the reason for that is that, I mean, it's a huge social issue because, like, yeah, old man, this is a nursery rhyme. Again, sometimes it could be quite exclusive for kids who don't know nursery rhymes, who've never been to a nursery. So yeah, I mean, it will also depend on how socialized one is generally. Yeah, you see, issue, right? Ground reformation process in Zimbabwe. That's the major issue. See, it's nice when you have the issue and then you broaden it. Look at the breadth of the issue, okay? Because yeah, that's all. Mrs. Tabansi's class, okay, in downtown Harare, Zimbabwe. Okay, so can you see the teacher is caricatured by her glasses and neat dress. Can you see look at that caricature there? Can you see that exaggerated head, that big head, right? Look at those eyes, like, okay, yeah, that kind of attitude. Can you see? The learner's innocence is portrayed with her wide eyes and cute hairstyle, right? You see, like, yeah, these could have been pigtails. Yeah. Again, teacher appears tired and hopeless, right? How do we know this? Look at the lines under her eyes. Can you see? Look at the lines under her eyes. Yep. Okay, again, they're half opened. You need to bring all these specifications, guys. Okay, you need to bring all these specifications out. Caricature. What is a caricature? What is caricature? This is a drawing in which a person or action is shown with exaggerated features. Okay, when features are exaggerated, sometimes there are specific features that are exaggerated with a person or within a person. So yeah. Again, those features are exaggerated to help with identification or to ridicule or both. Okay, depending on the issue at hand or the issue that we're dealing with at hand. Look at that. Zimbabwean fuel crisis. What's caricatured here? Okay. Can you see? Look at that. Look at the glasses. Look at the nose. Look at the slouchy and the mouth. Look at the mouth. Look at the lips here. Can you see? Hey, look at the jaw. Look at the jawline. Okay. I like this here. Credibility, not petrol, but can you see again a beautiful inductive inference from what? From the use of petrol in cars. Why is this the case? Because we talked about fuel crisis. Cartoonists are intelligent guys. I love Zapiro. I love Sifiso Yalo. Yeah, there are a couple more that I love from South Africa. Again, look at this credibility. Instead of petrol or instead of gas or whatever, they wrote the credibility empty. So he's running on empty because there's zero credibility, in this regard. I think again, given what the issue was at hand at the time. Stereotype. This is a fixed, important word, fixed, exaggerated, and preconceived description of a specific type of person, group, or nation. A fixed, exaggerated, and preconceived description of a specific type of person or nation. For example, the Italians are said to be emotional and the British cold. Okay, so these are stereotypes. These are by no means opinions of myself or the STEM digital school. Understand that. These are general stereotypes that people, I think are sort of identified by or that they go by. Look at this. Ooh, you mean a woman can open it, right? Why? Because again, the stereotype is that women are not strong, so they can't open something as simple as what? As tomato sauce. Okay, so you mean a woman can open it? So this again, I think, given that this hairstyle, I think this is a very, very old advert. And I think the reason it's so important is that it was the advertiser's way to lure women into buying that particular tomato sauce or ketchup. Reason being that tomato sauce bottles, like sometimes very, very hard, or or difficult to open rather. So very, very, very difficult to open. Yeah, so I think that's what was shown here. Satire, remember, it's a sharp wit, irony, or sarcasm that is used to highlight, expose, and or ridicule human, social, or political weaknesses. Don't forget, guys, with satire, the aim is to correct, or the aim is to want to correct while highlighting those particular issues. So you're not just bringing out an issue, you're bringing out an issue and then you're highlighting that issue as well as the meaning behind that issue. Look at this. One day I'll work at Sanral and send out e-toll bills, right? Okay, Sanral is a parastatal, what's this? It's a parastatal company. I may be mistaken, but I think it is. I think it definitely is, yeah. Um, I think it's a roads agency something. Yeah, it's like a national roads or rail, no, roads agency something. Um, and 2 plus 2 is da 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 da. You can see that big number there, right? Why is that the case? Because remember, people are parents. The nation. People have been complaining about e-tolls and e-toll bills and how they don't make sense. Yeah, because I mean, you just travel once on a national road, and next thing, bam, this is what you get, and this is what you need to pay. Okay, again, it's a huge social issue, but again, it's also a huge political issue. But the aim here, while mocking, the aim here, while ridiculing, is to not only expose, but to correct in some way what's happening. Irony. This implies the opposite of what is said. Literally that. It implies the opposite of what is said. I think when I do these figures of speech with you in depth, not focusing on cartoons, I'll tell you, the different types of irony, like dramatic irony and verbal irony. It's very, very interesting. Okay, you'll see that some of the things that you guys know on TV, you know a lot more than characters themselves, because of things like dramatic irony. Okay, look at this dead end, right? Ironic. Yeah, sorry, I'm okay. No, I didn't mean to laugh, guys. So it says just because it is, it doesn't mean that you have to point it out. Can you see? Just because it is, it doesn't mean that you have to point it out. The pun here. It's a play on words. They sound the same but have a different meaning. Okay, it's a very, very clever play on words. Okay, so the past, the present, and the future walked into the bar. It was tense. Look at this here. Look at this here. Can you see the clever play on words here? Sometimes, yes, it was tense. Tense as in tension, or tense as in, past, present, and future tenses. We don't know, but this was a very, very clever, word, play on words. Okay. Ice cream cone. You see, ice cream cone. Interesting. Ice cream cone. Ice cream cone. Can you see this, right? You know that ice creams use cones. We use cones for ice cream, right? Yeah. But here he screams and it's a cone here. You see. So, oh yeah, hey. Okay. Sarcasm. Similar to irony, but one thing is said, but another thing is intended or interrupted, right? Um, Sarcasm is intentionally done. Okay, so you are literally intentionally trying to hurt somebody, or or to mock someone in some way. Okay, yeah, you're so hilarious. I'm dying of laughter. Look at that. Mm. Okay. Frame is remember, it's the border around the picture to create the area in which the action happens. And it's not always necessary to have a frame, but usually, if one is omitted, it is to show that that the action is not restricted. Look at that there. Can you see? Can you see? There you go. So let's test this. Let's just test this quickly. Okay, I'll give you guys about 5 minutes. Look at that, and then we'll have these questions here. show you the questions now. It's advisable that you perhaps either take a screenshot of this or take a picture of it. Okay. Okay, I'm going to now show you questions 7 to 11, and then we'll end the lesson. Okay, hope you got that. Let's just see. I'm going to show you the memorandum. Okay, and then we'll end the lesson today. Thank you guys. Hope you guys have enjoyed this lesson. Okay. And see you tomorrow.